There's so much at stake in this election. You know, I just came off the doors in my riding for a minute because of the story that's just breaking that I have to share with you. It is crazy what Mark Carney's team just got caught doing. It's going to blow your mind. But just to put in perspective how crazy this story is, you know, I've spent the morning out talking to my constituents, and everything's at stake in this election, you know, affordability, crime. You know, people are talking to me and saying, you guys have to win. We need hope. We need change. We need this positive conservative plan that Pierre Poilievre has been spreading. But I want to show you how desperate and disgusting Mark Carney's team is. This is breaking news, and you've got to share this video because we know the mainstream media is not going to cover this, okay? So there was a conservative sort of meetup, a conference of you know, sort of right-leaning activists that happened in Ottawa last week. And there is a story in the Globe and Mail that had this quote in it. It said, at an annual conservative gathering, people gleefully traded a photo of a campaign button with the name of Mr. Poilievre's chief advisor, Jenny Byrne, and crossed out and replaced with Mr. Tonight. So it was this story about these buttons that were circulating at this conference. So here's a picture here. And there was ones that said, stop the steal, make Canada great again, free Alberta. There was these buttons that were circulating, and they made it into mainstream news articles like the Globe and Mail, like I just quoted. So it was this narrative that was coming out that all of a sudden, you know, Pierre Poilievre is doing like American style politics. But guess what just happened, guys? Because Pierre Poilievre has been putting Canada first with a Canada First plan, right? And the Liberals know that. And people across the country are showing up to his rallies, thousands of people. It's resonating on doors like mine. People are motivated to get out and vote the Liberals out of office. So the Liberals are desperate. Look what they did. Look at what they did. This is insane. They found it just is breaking that it was Mark Carney's team that made these buttons up, put them in this conference, knowing that there would be media there, to spread fake news, American-style disinformation at a time when, you know, the Liberals are talking about, oh, you know, Canada, elbows up, Canada strong. What does this look like to you folks? What is a Mark Carney's team did this. Now, here's the kicker. Here's where it gets absolutely wild. They were so cocky about doing this and fooling the mainstream news that they bragged about it in public at a bar. And a reporter was sitting beside them and wrote this story. Now, you guys might think like, okay, well, it's a few buttons. It made it into like mainstream news stories. It was circulated on social media, like the Conservative Party was doing this, right? It was the topic. It came up in mainstream news panels, you know, mainstream news outlets reported on this. So it was a massive disinformation operation, number one. Number two, think about the planning that something like this took, right? They would have had to do graphic design. They would have either had to get the equipment to make these buttons or order them. It took a lot of forethought. Then they would have had to get passes to go into this campaign. And then they went out and celebrated it afterwards. Okay? So Canada doesn't need this type of garbage, guys. This is the hallmark. Mark Carney's team, right? This is what they've done to Canada for a decade. They've tried to divide us off of crap like this, right? This is exactly the Liberals. This is what they've done. And I know so many of you, maybe you've voted Liberal in the past before. Maybe you voted NDP in the past before, but you're voting Conservative this time because you're tired of crap like this. Can you imagine this? You know, Mark Carney's been hiding from the media. And you know what? This is what his campaign team was doing this time. They're like, oh, we're taking a down day for the campaign. Well, this is what Mark Carney's campaign is doing instead of putting out policy to fix affordability like Pierre Poilievre is doing, a 15% income tax cut, or to address the crime wave across this country that Liberal catch and release policies have created. I'm hearing that on my doors all the time, right? Pierre Poilievre was out last week with a really smart 3 strikes you're out policy. What do the Liberals do in response? They spread disinformation. Look at this. They had a full disinformation operation that made it across the mainstream media and into social media. disgusting. This is, if anybody is voting for the Liberals, this is what they are voting for in the next 10 years. These are not serious people, right? Day after day, the Conservative Party has had a disciplined message focused on actual policy that is going to unite Canadians in a country where if you work hard, the promise of your paycheck will actually be there and pay off, right? And that's why these guys are so desperate. They're doing things like this because they're trying to push Conservative campaign managers, get into their head. They're trying to, grab the media spotlight with disinformation. Because Pierre Poilievre is running such a disciplined campaign with policies that address affordability, address crime, this is what they're doing, and it's disgusting. And I need you to share this video because Canadians need to understand that this is what Mark Carney is. This is Mark Carney's team. Mark Carney, the buck stops with him on this campaign. He was the one who did this, whose team, clearly they put a lot of planning into it at a time when they should have been thinking about what? Your needs, right? It makes me so angry. You can hear I've got, a cold. I've been working so hard. My team of volunteers have been working so hard to talk to Canadians, to give them hope, to listen to their concerns on the doorstep. My colleagues across the country have been doing this, right? Pierre Poilievre, his wife Anna, all of our team that across the country, they're doing this. What are the Liberals doing? This, right? Think about this. This is the hallmark of the Liberals, but this is Mark Carney's team. This is Mark Carney. Mark Carney, fake button news. This isn't a serious person. Come on, disgusting. There's so much at stake in this election. Are you going to vote for, and this is a pattern. I got it. The thing is, they did this. This is the type of lying lies that the Liberals are known for, right? And, even in this campaign, Mark Carney, this isn't the first sort of lying thing that his campaign has been involved in, right? He can't answer basic questions about why, as chair of Brookfield, he, helped the company offshore billions of tax dollars that should have been paid to Canada. He can't explain why. Well, he lied about his role in moving Brookfield's headquarters from Canada to New York. He said he basically said he had nothing to do with it. And then documents came out that showed that he was chair of the board at the time that this was happening. These guys are doing everything that they can to try and distract Canadians from the fact that they have failed us for 10 years. They have made our streets less safe. They have made our lives less affordable, and they've got nothing in the can to change for hope. But Conservatives do, and that's why they're doing divisive garbage like this. And then you have Mark Carney coming out after his team spreads disinformation like this, gets on a stage and suggests that he's going to reintroduce the Liberals' draconian censorship bill. That is what's coming down the pipe with another 4 years of Liberal government. Guys, share this video. Help me get this word out. This is Mark Carney's team. Disgusting. Nobody should be voting for Mark Carney's team. Come on, guys. Seriously. And you know what? Earlier this morning, I did a video that showed I was talking about how do we get our message out as Conservatives up against stuff like this. And guys, right now, my sign crew is out. We're talking to people on the doors. My voice is hoarse. We've got to get more literature out in my writing. And all of that comes with support from people like you. We're on the home stretch. It's 16 days. I need to raise money in order to be able to get our message out through garbage like this. This is what the Liberal Party is throwing at our campaign. There's a link in the video description and in the comments. Please donate. It'll help me and others get over the hump. Guys, we have got to make this happen. Can you imagine this? Mark Carney's campaign made up American-style buttons that fooled the Globe and Mail, okay? And it was talked about in all of these panels and stuff, and then they bragged about it at a bar in front of reporters. Disgusting. You deserve better than this. You deserve a hopeful Conservative plan. Share this video. Help me get the word out. And guys, let's bring it home.